Hello, happy Thursday, friends. My name is Janna, and I am here with a fun project today. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I will have the link in the description box below if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and see something that you would like to order. You can shop there if you'd like. Okay, so today I am making some cute little treat pouches, containers, whatever you want to call it. I'm doing Halloween, but you could absolutely do these for whatever gift giving occasion that you might have. They definitely do not have to be Halloween. I know that's not everybody's thing. I am using the Spooky Halloween suite of products, which includes this photopolymer stamp set and the dies. Now you can buy this as a bundle. You can buy the products I'm going to show you as a suite. The bundle saves you 10%. All of these products can also be purchased individually. So the suite includes those two things and the shimmer star foam stickers. I love these because these work great if you put them on a card and are going to mail them. You know, the bumps aren't as hard, so hopefully the post people will be nice and not give you too much grief about it. Also, this really pretty iridescent ribbon in the color of Petunia Pop. Very pretty. And then these iridescent treat bags, which are food safe, and there's a package of 20. And again, these all can be purchased separately. So let's see. I think that is, no, that's not everything, because you also get paper when you purchase the suite, or you can buy this separately. The paper includes 2 sheets of these fun punch out things. And so I've been busy making things, so I've got everything in a mess. Also, fun papers in here that are patterned. There are tags and banner things. There's big pieces that you can cut out. I've shown this paper before. And then, of course, just the plain decorative paper that is fun for cards or whatever you want to use that for. You can totally make Halloween cards with just the paper pack and nothing else. You wouldn't need stamps or dies or anything. You could have a lot of fun just with that paper pack. Okay, I also cut some circles out with the, not that, with the Deckle Circles dies. These are retired, but I just liked the Deckle design. I thought it was kind of, you know, has that spooky vibe. And besides the papers in that pack, I did pull a few from the Brights Designer Series papers. These are current papers, and they come in all the different color families. There's the kind of sprayed look on here. There are flowers and some stripes and leaves, and that is pretty much what the designs are in that paper pack. But like I said, you can get those in all the different color families, and they are 6 by 6. Okay, so what I have been playing with here and have done was I went through and I already stamped this. I cut out of one of the papers, so there's all kinds of fun little characters and things on some of those papers that you can cut out. I stamped and die cut and colored up some images. This is the house from the die set there, and I cut out some of the fences and the little broom and stuff. So I've got those pieces. Then I also die cut a bunch of the bats. You get 2 bats there. that you can die cut, and I cut those out of black glitter paper. So I have those pieces all ready to go. I cut a bunch of circles. So my plan is here, I've already made 5 of these and I cut enough stuff to make 10. So I cut a bunch of the circles using that circle die set that I showed you, the deckled circles. And this was the 5th, this size was the 5th one from the smallest. So that is that. And you might get a piece of paper and a pencil. I will try to go back and edit in the description box and give you the measurements, but it's really so simple. I came up with this little pouch on my own. I'm sure others have created something maybe exactly like it. I have no idea. But anyway, what you're going to need, like I said, grab a piece of paper and a pencil or pen real quick, and I will just tell you. You're going to need a half of a sheet of cardstock. So if you had the full sheet, it would be 8.5 by 11. So you're just going to put it in your cutter and cut it at 4 1/4. So then you'll have 2 pieces like this. So your little pouch requires 1. And then you need 2 little pieces the same color of cardstock. And actually what I did was I just used the other half that I cut. And like if you were going to make your pouches, if you're going to make several of them and make them all the same color, you could use 1 strip of this to make these. And because put together, as you can see, it's the same width, okay? But you'll need 2 of these little pieces, and they measure 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. Okay, 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. You need 2 of them. So we're going to do a very little bit of scoring. So with your long piece of cardstock here, you're going to score it 2 score lines at 5 inches and 6 inches. That's it. So put it in, pull it over to 5, or if you have a scoreboard, score it at 5 and at 6. There's the 5-inch score. I'm going to shove it up to 6 here and score it again. And that is that. And your little pieces here, you're going to score the long sides at 1/4 inch. And I'm measuring on the right side here. So I'm just going to put it in there and score at 1/4 inch, turn it, and score again. And really, if you're going to make a bunch of these, you could do this step with all of them, and then you'd have all your scoring done. And then it just kind of all goes together like an assembly line. Super easy. Okay, so that is that. And then I decided I wanted the corners of mine rounded, and I've shown my corner rounder before. This is the Katomaru Pro, and I did order this from Amazon. And it's got a small, medium, and large corners, and I'm using the medium. And all the little pieces gather up in the bottom here, and then the bottom just pops off to empty it. I really like this corner rounder. So this is what the medium corner looks like. And I'm just going to do it on all 4 corners. So there we have that. And then I'm just going to burnish my 2 fold lines here. Now I went ahead and cut a bunch of the pieces of patterned paper, and so those I cut for mine 3 3/4 by 4.5. And let's see. So these are from the paper pack. These are from the patterned paper pack that I showed you. And these are from the paper pack. There's some of the little characters. You can totally cut them all out. And that's the side I'm going to use on my pouch. And then I had some retired papers that I pulled out, because they're not just going to sit in my drawer. I got to use them up. Okay, so I just need to decide which piece or which patterned paper I want on here. Maybe I will do, I kind of think the orange ones look better on the black, maybe. So these are all the colors I cut to make my pouches. I've got why can't I think of the name of this? Pumpkin pie. And then this is the petunia pop, and we've got granny apple green. And I did follow the colors that were on the back of the pattern papers, and then I've got black. So let's see. I'm making orange. That one might be kind of cute on the black or the green. I think I'm going to do the, maybe I'll do those. Okay, so now we've got that situation solved. So I need my 2 little pieces of pattern paper, and again, those are cut at 3 3/4 by 4.5. And I need one of my circles. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue my pattern paper on. You can use whatever adhesive that you like to do that. We don't get, I can't remember if we got any trick-or-treaters last year, so I still like to make Halloween things, so I figure I'm just gonna make up some of these little pouches and give them to my friends. Because I would like it if somebody gave me one. I'm still a big kid at heart, so I like stuff like this. All right, so we're going to do the front and back. At least I am doing the front and back. And if you want to put a white piece or something on over the top of this on the back to write something or put more of a sentiment on, you could certainly do that. You can use these for candy or whatever little gift might fit inside, but it does hold quite a bit of candy. Especially like the treat size. And I did grocery shopping this morning, so I picked up some fun size Hershey candy to put in there. And of course, this runs out at the most unopportune times. That's okay. I'm going to fill it up real quick. I get my refills on Amazon for this. They come in a box. I can't remember how many's in it, like probably 20 or something. Okay, so we are doing this, and then it goes over that one and under, and then you squeeze the handle and pull it up. Thread it in the little things over here, wrap that around, put this back on, and we are set. Okay, back to it. So I've got my little circle here. It's just a matter of decorating it up. I have the, from the stamp set, let me bring that back out real quick. I've got the Happy Halloween mounted on a block and the No Tricks All Treats, so I can decide which greeting I want, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh, she might look cute on here. And then here is a little, her little broom. And I'm trying to make them all just a little bit different. Maybe we'll do the No Tricks All Treats. Or Happy Halloween. I'm going to do the No Tricks All Treats. So let's just do that. And what color do I want to do? I'm going to just do black. So I'm using my Memento Tuxedo Black. Hi, Nancy. Have you played while I work on dinner and decorating for Halloween? Oh, cool. Where did I see those cool pumpkins? Maybe it was this morning at Walmart. They had some really interesting looking pumpkins to set around that I can't remember if they kind of looked knitted maybe. They were very different. Rustic. Okay, so there's that. And No Tricks, All Treats. So I think I will pop that over to the side there a little bit. And I'm just using glue to put this down. I'm loving my glue press, by the way. My desk is very busy. I've got so much stuff, plus my big, well, I don't want to put it over there. I'm afraid it'll drip. My big Starbucks tumbler setting here. Okay. Let me get this out of the way because I kind of want to, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't stamp my little design on it. Oh, well. I can still go back and do that. I am going to use my Daffodil Delight, and this is just, I always call it the magic because I don't know what else to call it. The little splattering of magic. So I am just going to stamp that around on there, which typically I do ahead of time, but since the background isn't going to show probably if I go off of it a little bit, I think we're okay. There we go. Okay, let me clean this real quick. And I will clean this one too. Hi, Danita. Oh, I'm just making these little fun pouches that you can put treats in or gifts. They don't have to be Halloween. You can make them whatever you want them to be. So I'm just decorating them up now. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to put her on here. And let me get some, I'm using my scraps again of my dots, my dimensionals. And there's that. And then I'm going to glue her little feet down so she's not floating. If I can get the papers off. There we go. And I glue. And we're going to just put her there. Cute. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this broom here. You know what? My cup is right in the way of where I'm trying to grab. So let me just move this real quick. There we go. That's better. Okay, I think what I will do actually is put a dab of glue there. And maybe a little bit right here. Hopefully that'll hit in the right spot. And we'll just put this broom like this. She might be getting ready to fly somewhere, not sure, but you know, she could be. Okay, so there's that. And then we need something in this area over here. What about another little character? No, I don't like that. No. I know I want bats. We'll do a bat up here. And maybe we'll just, what's my other one that I did like that look like? I don't want to do them all the same. Oh, okay. So I am good. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the middle there so the wings can be kind of popped up like so. And we'll do another bat down here. I love these glittery bats. Cute. Okay, do I want some stars? We don't need to, you know, do too much. Ooh, the purple stars might be kind of cute on there. These stars are in 3 different sizes. So I'm going to use one of each size. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to call that one done as far as the decorating. And then Okay, so now we have to do the sides. Here's our little sides, and then I'm going to use tear and tape for this because remember we scored these at 1/4 of an inch, and this tear and tape is 1/4 of an inch, so it's just the right size. Let me go ahead and fold these. Get my scissors ready. Yeah, so since we don't really get trick-or-treaters up here, there's just not many kids that live in our neighborhood, if any. I just figured I could make these, and I know there'll be a stamping event and a ladies' card club event, so I will just give them to friends. And they are so quick and easy to make, especially when you do all your little extra things ahead of time, like cut your circles. Just sit and cut your circles one time when you've got a few minutes, or stamp out your designs and cut them out. And then once you get all your parts and pieces together, then you can sit down and just get them whipped out. Okay, so now we can do the sides. So all you're going to do is make sure where your front is. It doesn't really matter because the front and back are going to be even. So take the paper off one side, or you can use glue, whatever you want to use. You want to watch where your fold line is there and make sure you don't go over that. I just fold the edge over and butt it right up against the fold line, and then make sure that I'm getting it even with the side of the box or pouch. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing with this one over here. I wanted it to have a little bit of sides to contain, if you don't want to put whatever you're going to put inside there in a bag and just have candy in there, you don't want it falling out. So, okay, then pull up the other side, whether it's the front and back. Hold the side in place and just get it lined up there. There you have it. And I kind of just like to stick my bone folder down in there and give it a little press. And then we're going to do the same thing with this side. Line it up and stick it together. There you go, just like that. So easy. Okay, and it totally stands up. This one I got a little outside there. Let me move it over a little bit. I don't like that. Okay. All right, so now then I've got a hole punch. And if you happen to have a center, where's my ruler? You guys see it? Okay, here it is. I have one of these fun, this happens to be a Tim Holtz one, like centering ruler. I'm not sure exactly what they call it. But our box is 4 1/4, right? So we know, or 4 1/2. No, 4 1/4. So we know that the center is 2 1/8. You can totally just line it up and measure that way. I just want to center where I'm going to punch my holes, and I'm going to punch them about 1 inch apart. So let me get this centered here. So the 0 needs to be in the middle of 2 1/8 on each side. Okay, and I'm just going to take my pencil. Let me get this back where it needs to be. Okay, and I'm just going to measure over a 1/2 inch from my 0, if that makes sense. And so my little dots will be about 1 inch apart from each other. And then I'm going to punch my holes. And my suggestion is to not get it clear up at the top edge, okay? Go down a little bit. And then I need the holes on both sides, but it's really hard to, with those hand punches, I think, to get them through both pieces of cardstock at once. So I just line it up and stick my punch in the hole from the first time. Let me get that lined back up here. There we go. And then I can punch through the back. There we go. Okay, so there's that. Now, if you want to use one of these pretty little bags or some other bag you might have to fill it up with whatever you're going to put inside, whether it's candies or a gift of some sort, and then tie it, gather it and tie it with a ribbon, then these bags will fit right down inside of there. Of course, it's in a packaging bag here, so that's bigger. But the bags will fit down in there. Or you can take your little treats. I bought these Hershey candies. Now this, like I said, holds quite a bit. Here's like the fun size. You can see I've got, look how much room is in there. You can put lots of candy in there if you want. Or if you're giving this to somebody, not for Halloween or whatever, or even for Halloween, you could put candy in there and a gift card and lots of stuff. Right now, I'm not going to put any treats in there, but I just wanted to show you that. But I do want some ribbon, and which ribbon? I've got my pretty iridescent ribbon, and then I've also pulled out this gingham ribbon, which is, I don't think we have this available anymore. I wish, this I think needs to be a staple always, but I think this will be cute since her top is kind of like that color. And what you need is about 6.5, I'm going to say 7 inches, 6.5 inches of ribbon. We don't need to waste it. All right. So then you will just fasten it however you want, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. You go from the front to the back through both sets of the holes in the front and the back. Pull your ribbon through. One time, many years ago, I went into a stamp store and they bagged up my things I bought, and they closed, it was like a brown paper bag. They closed the bag up like this, and I thought it was so clever and cute. And I love when you go in a store and buy something and they make it special. And so I always remembered how they did that. And so then when you're on the back side, you just thread your ends through the opposite hole. And I remember coming home, and I think I got the stuff out of the bag, and then I put the ribbon back in and left the bag decorated up like that because I thought it was so cute. Then you just pull the ends tight, and there's what it looks like on the front. So cute. And then just snip the ends however you want to snip them. I kind of like to do the opposite on the other side. So there you have it. There's that one. And I thought I would just do one more just because they're fun. All right, so let's see, what color do I want to do? Do I want to do the haunted house or like this guy? I've got all these punch outs too that are fun. You know what? Maybe I'll do some punch outs on this one. So I'm gonna do this color. And let me get this stuff out of the way. Okay, so I need my sides for that color, which is Petunia Pop. There we go. And one of my circles. Let me put this over here. And then I will, when I'm done here, I'll show you all the other ones that I made already. Okay, so let's do our scoring again real quick. So again, this piece is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. We're gonna score at 5 inches and 6 inches, which just creates the bottom of our little box pouch. There's that. And then our little side pieces, again, in case you missed the size of these, are 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. You need 2, 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. You're going to put them in your scoreboard or trimmer or whatever and score the long sides at 1/4 inch each side on both pieces. Okay, so we are done with that. And patterned papers are, where's my paper where I wrote it down so I can tell you? 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. This is from the paper pack that goes along with the spooky Halloween. And I need to round my corners still, so let's do that. Totally optional, you don't have to round the corners. And this is the back side of that paper, so either side you can use. But I'm going to let the candy side show. I see my bats are going to be flying sideways, but oh well. I didn't pay attention to that. That's all right. They're a little crazy. Yeah, I totally did not notice that when I cut the paper. I would have made sure that I had it turned the right way. Okay, so now we're going to do the circle, and let me see what fun things we've got going on over here. I think I'm going to punch out one of these little fairy bears. And I kind of like the potion bottle. That'll be cute. And we'll stick a bat on the front of the potion bottle because it's too plain. So we'll do that. And we'll go with that for now. Let's see how we like that. And let me see how I'm going to fit maybe Happy Halloween on here. It's going to be tight, but we could make it at an angle, or I could do spooky. I could get out the word spooky and do it because it's smaller. Let's see. Spooky. Maybe we'll do that. Let me pull this off. And we will stamp spooky. And how about, well, let's stamp it with black. And then let me grab the bats that are in there. Maybe I won't use the magic this time. So I put that away and grab the bats. Oh, you guys, if you ever have your clear blocks get cloudy, which some site I was on somewhere was somebody asked the question, how do you, if your blocks are cloudy, how do you fix it? And I've always wondered that myself because I had several that were cloudy, and I guess it happens from using cleaner, like stamp cleaner, and there was a couple different things. And I tried it and it totally works. You just use your heat tool and carefully blow your heat tool on it and the cloudiness just disappears. I couldn't believe it, but it worked. Okay, we are going to put the bats here. So I am happy to pass that information along because I don't like that cloudiness on my stamping blocks. So now I know how to fix it, and I would never have guessed to do that. Oh, like using baby wipes. That was the other thing, wiping your blocks off with baby wipes. And that's what makes them cloudy. I think what I will do is go around the edge of my circle this time. Hi, Angela. Okay. So we're going to have this here. We'll have little Miss Fairy Bear up there. She's so cute. And we'll have our little potion bottle down here. I'm not real excited about the white edges around these, and some of them I have trimmed that away. But this time I'm just going to ink them up. Okay, oops. And let's see here. You can also go back in and color on these punch out images and also the ones from the paper. So like if you wanted to cut the little piggy out, you could go in and color him up if you wanted to, and the same with the flamingo and stuff. They're sort of like pencil drawings. Okay, so let's get the circle on. Spooky. And I am just going to pop that bottle up a little bit. Wonder what's in it. Some kind of sleeping potion, I bet. All right, we will put it right here. And let me see. We'll pop her up because she is fluttering in the air. And I am going to take some Wink of Stella and sparkle up her little fairy wings. You could use stickles too, that would be cute. Or just glue and glitter. It would make them far more sparkly than Wink of Stella, but at least there's a little bit of sparkle here. Just enough. Little fairy wings kind of glisten, don't they? Well, I'm assuming anyway. Never seen one in person. Okay, so there's that. And then, do we need something else? Do we need some stars over here? Some, maybe the little white ones? Where are they? Here they are. Maybe just around the word. Yeah, we'll do just do them around the word. Okay. All right, now the sides. Fold them at the score lines. Bring my score tape in, and again, like I said, you can use glue or whatever adhesive you want to use, but you want to use something that's a little bit strong because you don't want your sides falling out. And if you have this tear and tape or score tape, especially in the 1/4 inch size, it fits there just perfect, and it makes it so easy to do this step. Whereas you use wet glue and you might have to hold it in place a little bit. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love it if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I hope you will. There we go. All right, let's get these sides on. So you just fold one of them down there. Anyway, this is what I find easiest. Fold it underneath like that. Butt it up to that score line, but don't go over. Sorry, I'm trying to see what I'm doing and get it even, and then put it right along the edge of your box. And we'll do the same with the other side, or pouch, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that one off, fold this up, and get it against the bottom there, and wrap the side around, making sure that you're getting it even as you go. There we go. And then again, I like to take my bone folder in and just give that a little press to make sure that it's sealed. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side. Tuck it in. And sometimes it helps to just stick your finger down in there and get it right where you want it. There we go. So cute. Okay, and now we just have to do the holes. So again, I'm using my center ruler here to measure, but if you don't have one, just find your center. And do about an inch, a ½ inch from your center on each side. So that'll give an inch space in the middle between your holes. Squish it together and hold it in place. Stick your hole punch into the hole you just did and punch through to the back. Unless you're really super strong and you can punch through both pieces of cardstock at the same time. Okay, so let me see which ribbon I want. Ooh, the black and white one might be cute because I think we've got too much of that color there. So I'm going to do the black and white one this time. And I'm going to cut 7 inches here. I think I did. Did I do the black and white one on the first one? I might have. I think I did. Okay, make sure it's not twisted. And then you just bring it back through to the front in the opposite hole. And snug it up. That's so cute. Okay. And if you'd rather just pull it through and tie a bow, you certainly can do that also. There she is, so spooky cute. Okay, let me pull in all the other ones I made, and then we'll do story time real quick. Okay, so there's the first one. And then here are all the others. Here's that one. Did with the little haunted house. Here's this one. Totally used all the little punch outs from the paper on that one. And there she is, kind of the same as the first one I did, but I put the fence on it and some candy corn. And I used black cardstock on that one. And there we have little Frankie dog. He's trick-or-treating. And then here is the little hippopotamus, all thinking that he is a mummy, but there's just not enough tape to cover him up. All right, so those are the ones I've got done so far. What have we got here? 7. So I have stuff to make 3 more. At some point. Maybe over the weekend I can get those done. so we're still doing story time in Fairyopolis. Let's see, we don't need it bigger. I guess that's as small as it'll go, or as far back. Let me find my bookmark. I can feel it there. Here we go. I'm trying to decide if we read this one already. I think we did. So let me move this stuff out of the way. I've got so much stuff here. Okay, so I'll just show you the pages real quick. It's such a big book. All right, this is dated the 3rd of August. Was awoken by a noise in the middle of the night. I stumbled into the garden. The source of the disturbance, a whimpering sound, became more distinct, which I recognized to be a baby's cry. It gradually dwindled to nothing. I spotted a flower head lying on the grass. It looked so much like a baby's bonnet, came directly inside and wrote to Dorothy. Having written the letter, I realized that it all sounds rather odd, so I will not send it. I feel much calmer now, so I shall endeavor to return to sleep. Let's see what the letter has to say. Cicely M. Barker, Banton's Starrington, Sussex. Dearest Dot, I'm writing you this letter in the middle of the night, having been awoken by a strange noise in the garden. I believe this disturbance is in some way connected to the strange and inexplicable events that have taken place at Barton's since I arrived. I will not bore you with the details, but I have witnessed certain phenomena that point towards the existence of something other than myself living here at the house, or at least in the garden. Please let me reassure you that I am not at all frightened. And this is the 20th of August. Equipment needed to find a fairy: binoculars, butterfly net, magnifying glass, jam jar, selection of mirrors, comfortable chair, and refreshments. I see she has a nice cup of tea there. The last few weeks have been a time of quiet reflection. I am now feeling absolutely determined to find out for sure whether or not there are fairies living here. I will treat the case as if I were a detective and plan my actions accordingly. And over here, she's got a plan of action that's covered up by the cup, so we can't see it. But it says over here on the side, furnish myself with a net, jar, and chair. Conceal myself in a hiding place which has a clear view over the garden. Place a selection of mirrors in front of me in order to catch a glimpse of anything behind me. Once a fairy has been spotted, gently catch her with the net on my hands. Place her in the jar temporarily. Inspect the fairy with the magnifying glass and sketch. Release the fairy. Okay, the best times for seeing fairies. That wonderful author, Mr. Carroll, has covered some of the ground rules already. The first rule is that it must be a very hot day that we may consider as settled, and you must be just a little sleepy, but not too sleepy to keep your eyes open. Mind, well, and you ought to feel a little what one may call fairyish. The best times to see a fairy are at twilight, midnight, and just before sunrise and midday. Once a fairy has been spotted, be sure to keep your eyes fixed upon it. The fairy will only be seen for as long as one looks at it unwaveringly. Oh, I got that word out. I must practice staring without blinking. Bought some drops from the local chemist to assist my efforts. So there's the bottle of eye drops. The 22nd of August. Have been hiding in the rockery every evening from twilight to midnight. No luck so far. 24th of August. Now trying to catch them early. Nothing yet. The 29th of August. Fairies, where are you? I admit defeat. The little minxes have evaded me. Exhausted. All right, so we will stop with that one. I'm just going to put these back up there for another quick look. And again, like I said, you could make these for any occasion. I just happened to make mine for Halloween. They're lots of fun. I hope you'll give them a try. I will go in when I'm done here and put the measurements in the description box. However, you can make them whatever size, that you'd like to. Have a great weekend ahead. Thanks so much for being here with me today. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. There is still the sale going on until the end of the month with Stampin' Up! Of in color items. So you just can go online and look at the sale for that. And I think that's about it. Have a great weekend, you guys. Take care. Happy crafting, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.